Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jack, and in today's class we are going to continue with our Math 11 content, and today we are covering simplifying rational expressions. Okay, so basically we're going to try some simple examples from the textbook here. So let's start off with our example. Okay, I'm going to write this out. So I have x minus 1 and x plus 3 on the top. Okay, or actually let's make them both minus. Okay, and on the bottom I have x plus 2 and x minus 1. Okay, so this is actually what a rational expression looks like. Okay, it is basically a fraction, and I have all the factors written out here. Okay, all you're doing here is you're going to look at the numerator and then take a look at the denominator, and I'm looking for a common factor that cancels out. So in this case I can see the top and bottom of x minus 1. I'm going to cancel that out and write down what's left over. I have x minus 3 over x plus 2. Okay, after every question in the textbook, it will tell you to state the restrictions. And how you do that, stating the restrictions for the rational expression, you just have to look at the denominator. Okay, so in the denominator here, I have x plus 2. And therefore, I just change the sign, so x cannot equal to negative 2. Okay, so this is basically all we are doing. Okay. However, if you look at this rational expression, I also notice in this intermediate step, or like the beginning step, I also have x minus 1. So I'm going to change the sign for that. I'm also going to put x cannot equal to 1. Okay? And the reason for that is if either of these factors becomes 0, that causes the whole denominator to be 0, and the entire rational function will be undefined. Okay? Is everyone good so far? All right? And the types of questions your teacher will give you will be more like this one. So let's try this example. So let me just take this off. We're going to try a plus 4, which is on the top. Okay, and on the bottom, I have a trinomial. So it's a squared plus 3a minus 4. Okay, so say I'm doing this expression now. Okay. I see that the bottom denominator has a trinomial. I have to factor it by myself. So let's keep the top the same. We're going to factor the bottom trinomial out here. I notice it's a simple trinomial, okay? The product has to be negative 4, which is that last number. And the sum has to be equal to positive 3, which is always the middle number. That is always the sum, okay? So let's find two numbers here. I know I could do 4 times 1 because I know that is equal to 4, okay? Because 4 is the bigger number here, I know that the 4 must be positive, okay? And then that 1 is basically negative. So if I do positive 4 plus negative 1, that's going to give me positive 3. But again, if you do switch around the signs here, you'll notice when you add these numbers together, it will give you negative 3. Okay, so if you're not too sure about the signs, I would just make sure I use my calculator. Okay, so I can just write out my factors here because this is a simple trinomial. So I'm going to write a plus 4 and a minus 1. Does everyone see that? Okay, so all we did was basically factor the simple trinomial that's in the denominator. And now we're just looking at the numerator and denominator, see if something cancels out here. I can see there's a plus 4 on the top and bottom, so I'm going to cancel that out. Okay, and some students think that the final answer is a minus 1. It's not a minus 1. Okay, it's a fraction here, so it's actually 1 over a minus 1. Okay, and again I have to make sure I'm stating the restrictions. Okay, on the bottom here I have a plus 4. Even if it canceled out, I still have to make sure I include it in the restrictions. Okay, so it's a plus 4, so I'm going to put a cannot equal to negative 4. Okay, in the second factor, I have a minus 1, so a cannot equal to positive 1. So you can just state the restrictions right beside your final answer, okay? That's where the restrictions should be. It shouldn't be at the beginning of the question or somewhere in the middle. All right, are we all good so far? Okay, so with that, let's try one more example here. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, And this example looks like it has another factoring method here. So make sure your factoring methods are really good, okay? So if you're not sure about factoring, I would go into the textbook and do some extra practice questions, okay? Let's try this one. So it's x squared minus 9 over 15 minus 5x, okay? So if you're looking at the top here, this looks like a difference of squares. How I know that is there are only two terms here, okay? And I can take the square root of both of the terms and it will give me a perfect square, okay? So this is just going to end up being x plus 3 and x minus 3. Does everyone see that? So you're just taking the square root of x squared, which is x, and I'm taking the square root of 9, which is 3. Okay, in one of the brackets it has to be positive and the other bracket it will be negative. And the reason for this is so that the intermediate terms cancel out. Okay, so now let's take a look at the denominator. I have 15 minus 5x. So if you look here, I can take out a common factor. So let's take out 5. And what's left inside the brackets is 15 divided by 5, which is 3. And 5 divided by 5, which is 1. Okay, or 1x. I'm not going to put the 1 here because it's kind of harder to see the different factors. Okay, so if you're looking here, okay, I notice that there are no factors that are the same in the numerator and denominator. However, if you look over here, at the top, I have x minus 3. On the bottom is 3 minus x, okay? And I notice if I switch it around, I can actually cancel out this common factor. So let's keep the top the same. So I'll put x plus 3 and x minus 3. And on the bottom, I'm going to take out a negative sign, okay? So when you take the negative sign out, I can actually change around the signs inside the brackets, okay? So in the brackets, it's just going to be x minus 3. All right, and now I notice I have that common factor of x minus 3. I'm going to cancel that out, okay? And I'm just left with x plus 3 over negative 5. That doesn't mean that there are no restrictions here, okay? I'm looking at what canceled out on the bottom. And I had x minus 3, so I'm just going to put x cannot equal to negative 3. Okay, does everyone see how to do that question? Okay, so again, even if it's an intermediate step, make sure you are still including it within the restrictions at the very end. Okay, so with that, we're going to try this example. And in this example, there are actually two trinomials, both in the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so let's take a look at this question here. And all you're going to do is actually just factor out both the numerator and denominator. Okay, so I have x squared minus 5x. Okay, plus 6 in the top. Okay, and on the bottom, I have x squared plus 3x and minus 10. Make sure you are actually looking at each of the signs here, okay? I always write out the product and sum. That way I don't get confused. So let's write out the product for the first one, which is equal to 6. And the sum for the numerator is negative 5, okay? So we're going to just write it out on the side here. I'm looking for two numbers. I have to multiply to give me 6. So I know I could do 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay, but when I add them together, it has to equal to negative 5. Okay, so this way I know both of them are negative. So if you look here, negative 2 plus negative 3, and that's equal to negative 5. Again, because this is a simple trinomial, I can just write out my factors here. So I'm going to write x minus 2 and then x minus 3. Okay? And let's go over, and then we have to also factor the denominator out. So in the bottom, the product looks like it's negative 10, and the sum is positive 3. Okay, what you see in the middle here. Again, two numbers. I need to multiply them, and it has to give me negative 10. So I'm going to do 5 times 2, which is 10. Okay, here the 2 is actually negative. Okay, so I'll put negative 10. And how I know that is because the sum of these two numbers has to be positive 3. And because the 5 is greater here, the 5 has to be positive. Okay, so positive 5 plus negative 2, and it equals to positive 3. So again, it's a simple trinomial. We're just going to state our factors out here. So I'm going to put x plus 5 and x minus 2. Does everyone see that? So you could do like some of these steps on the side if you want as well. Teachers don't mind, okay? I'm looking in the numerator and denominator to see what cancels out. And I see the x minus 2 cancels out here, okay? I'm going to rewrite my final answer. So x minus 3 on the top over x plus 5, okay? Again, don't forget to state the restrictions, okay? Marks will be taken off for this, and you won't be able to argue with the teacher about that, okay? So I'm going to put, I have x plus 5 on the bottom, so x cannot equal to negative 5. In the second factor, I had x minus 2 that canceled out in the denominator. Okay, so x cannot also equal to positive 2. So again, for the restrictions, just make sure you change the signs. And you're basically saying that x cannot equal to those numbers because that will cause the denominator to be 0 and the entire rational function will be undefined. Okay? So that brings this video to an end. I hope everyone enjoyed the content and you grasp the concept of how to simplify these rational expressions. Okay? Again, you just need to make sure you're factoring the numerator and the denominator, check what cancels out, and make sure you're stating your restrictions at the very end with your final answer. Alright? So thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're telling your friends who are taking Math 11 Academic. And these videos will really help them out if they are struggling with factoring or just simplifying the rational expressions. So thank you for watching one more time, and I will see everyone in the next video. Thanks. Bye.